The honor to introduce this afternoon's keynote speaker, Professor Shouyang Wang. In Chinese, I don't need to introduce him because Professor Wang, he has many students in China, and he trained many students and students and students. And I have a long list of his CV here, but I want to mention two things only. Yeah. Professor Wang, once at a time, he met this economic advisor of former president of the United States. This is something, if we do this forecasting science or design science, this is a great honor because as long as you close the top level, that means you have a great impact. The second thing is after Professor Wang, he published his paper, this carbon emission, after Elon Musk posted at X or the Twitter, and the Bitcoin price dropped hugely. So eventually it affects those policies. And among other things, Professor Wang, he is the director of this, among those 5 local hosts, the first one, also the former dean of the School of Economics and Management. So he considered as my former boss. Okay, well, Professor Wang, come.
Thank you very much to Zheng Juan for your kind introduction. It's really an honor for me to give a talk here on economic forecasting. The PPT was prepared jointly with Professor Qin Bao, Professor Wei Xiang, Professor Yuying Sun, and Professor Yuanji Wei. I would like to give that talk beginning with what's the TR and I methodology. Why we should propose such methodology for economic forecasting. Then I would like to introduce some innovative research in T, in E, in first eye and second eye. In this talk, I would like to show you some real application of TR and I methodology for economic forecasting. Finally, I would like to give some concluding remarks. Let me to show you the logic of forecasting. For example, if we talk about the crude oil price, of course, it is determined by relationship between demand and supply. But this is not the whole. Actually, many factors affect the movement of crude oil price, like some big events, policies, and public expectations. Let me to do exercise. Suppose today was May 31st. How do us to make a forecast for the crude oil price of June? We have to think about what the big events might happen. Actually, we can use ChatGPT or DeepSeek to make such judgment, such as Israel-Iran conflict in June 13 to 24, and we can make judgment how much the crude oil price might jump because of such event. We denote it as change one. Of course, a number of countries enter into summer, which increase the supply of energy. Such a increase might increase the demand of oil, demand of energy. Many tools can help us to make analysis, like DeepSeek, ChatGPT. Of course, we can use some econometric model to make such analysis. We denote it as change two. Because like the United States, many countries would like to speed the development of AI industry and the related industries, which increases the public expectation of increase in the oil prices in future. Of course, we can use some techniques like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, of course, deep learning models to help us to make analysis. We denote such change as change three. Because we talk about the crude oil price, we have to have a consideration of the movement of financial market. So some big changes in financial market, such as stable currencies, affect the crude oil price movement. We can use like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, of course, econometric models to make such analysis. We denote such a change as change four. Of course, we can consider some other factors which affect the movement of crude oil by some AI event modeling tools or econometric models. We denote it as change five. Traditionally, for many students in our schools to make economic forecasting, they collect data and choose econometric model that make a calculation to get a forecast. Just like plus one, because this assume that above changes do not happen. So a better forecast of crude oil price of June to 2025 should be plus one plus a function of change one, change two, change three, change four, and change five. Or actually, the crude oil price of June 2025 should be a function of price one, change two, change three, change four, and change five. If we use this methodology, we can get a more precise forecast in our economic forecast. This methodology was proposed in 2001, instead of 2021. when I was a professor at the Tsukuba University. Many other members of our Center for Forecasting Science made a greater contribution to the development of this methodology and its applications, like Professor Lan Yu, Professor Shouyang Wang, Professor Shouyang Wang, Professor Xin Yuzhan, Professor Yongmiao Hong, Professor Gu Huazhou, Professor Cui Hongyang, Professor Liu Bo, Professor Xin Ting, Professor Li Xinli, Professor Gang Xie, Professor Shao Longxuan, Professor Jin Cai, Professor Chen Yuanzhang. Most of them joined this symposium in Beijing now. The name of TR is based on text event modeling plus econometric modeling or mathematical modeling plus intelligence at integration. I use at to replace plus is to emphasize the function of integration. This is only from work of TR and our methodology published by myself and Professor Lan Yu in 2002 in the Journal of System Science and Complexity. For the methodology, we have about 6 modules, like man-machine interface module, web-based text mining module, the main process of WTM module, rule-based expert system module, econometric or mathematical modeling module, of course, AR-based time series forecasting module. Follow me. It's the base and the basis management module. People can refer to our books and papers publishing in some leading journals on TER and our methodology. As mentioned, our Center for Forecasting Science have done a number of innovative research respect to TER and our methodology. For T, like we have some work on large language models. For E, of course, we have done a lot of work on new model development. For first I and second I, we have done some good innovative research. I will introduce some of them to you in this talk. For the test mining in TER and I would like to show you some works in this area. For example, we use the internet big data with convolutional neural network to do text mining. We publish some papers in journals like International Journal of Forecasting. This is a paper jointly with Wei Shang, Xinli, and myself. We use some weighting technique like term frequency, inverse document frequency model to study news settlement. As I mentioned, we published more than 10 papers in this direction. In the past 12 years, Professor Yongming Hong and myself, leading a small group, are working on interval econometrics. Also, we use some interval text information for text mining. This paper we develop an interval econometric model. The data was the winter data related to extreme weather, global climate, crude oil. For the econometric modeling, with respect to TER and R methodology, we published more than 200 journal papers. Here is some for the level forecasting. I would like to show you some interval quantitative forecasting models, model average forecasting models. For the turning point forecasting, I would like to show you some basic models. Here is the interval econometric models. In our daily life, we can have many data captured in interval, like each day's weather, the high weather, the lowest weather. For the financial market, high price, lowest price. Here is a model, autoaggressive condition interval model. We use this model to forecast crude oil. We get better performance. This is another new model. We call it threshold autoaggressive interval model. We use this model to solve also crude oil price for the energy market. We get some good performance. Also, we develop interval factor models and interval time variant model, average models for the financial markets. In the last month, a PhD student has passed his PhD dissertation supervised by Professor Yongming Hong and myself. The title of his PhD thesis is Interval Econometric Modeling, Analysis, and Applications. Also, we propose some high dimension interval variable selection model based on Lasso, pseudo autoaggressive condition, heterogeneous interval model to study financial market or commodity market. Here is some new models we develop for the financial market and energy market, especially for the turning points. Okay, like a Bayesian network model for the stock event of black swan on the crude oil market. In the last 10 years, our Center for Forecasting Science pay our much attention on model average. This is a hot topic in econometrics. We developed some new models like time vary model average, interval model average, two-stage interval model average, where we use those models to study financial market, energy market, commodities market. We get better performance in forecasting. Here is a detail for time vary model average. Some formulas here, our bigger features, advantages. This is the interval event analysis model. Sometimes when we study the impact of big event to the market, we use event analysis models. But in the past, time window is very sensitive. But use our interval event analysis model, we can ignore the time window sensitivity issue. For the intelligent technology model, respect to TEI and our methodology, we have done a number of work, including time series forecasting based on artificial neural network, interval transform model, KE-ARM model. Here is the details for the time series forecasting model based on artificial neural network. We use this model for forecasting weekly exchange, foreign exchange rates. We get very, very promising results. I will mention that Reuters chose us as a unique partner in the Eastern Asia area. And we established a joint laboratory in Beijing. This work was done by Professor Luan Yu, Professor Kekele, who is a professor in City University of Hong Kong. We published a number of papers in leading journals. We also developed some techniques for interval-based transfer. This paper is a working paper. We would like to submit to some journal. The interval transform model based on self-attention mechanism efficiently capture long-term dependencies and complex patterns in commodity price series. Also, we pay much attention to machine learning. This is combining machine learning with search data from Baidu and Google Index for the tourism forecast. This work was done by Professor Shouyang. I guess he's not at this symposium now. Take this opportunity, I would like to introduce a method for data decomposition. In 1998, Professor Shouyang Wang proposed a method. This method was reported by New York Times, Financial Times, Washington Post, very famous. It's named empirical model decomposition. It's actually a method for data decomposition. Look at the this is a simple curve. The second one is a simple curve. If we put these two simple curves together, we get a very complicated curve. Professor Shouyang Wang is the chief engineer for data analysis in NASA. So 25 years ago, he proposed this method for data analysis because each day NASA received many complicated information. How to do analysis on those information. He proposed a new idea. Any complicated curve can be divided into a number of simple curves. So the process should be reversed. This is a very complicated curve can be divided into simple curves. We use this method for the data composition, but we improved the method proposed by Shouyang Wang because we put decomposition and the composition together. The blue curve is the curve for the real crude oil from 1946 to 1996. When the curve jumps sharply or down sharply, there corresponding a very big event. We use the EMD, empirical model decomposition method, to decompose the curve into 8 subcurves. We get very interesting results. Of course, we are based on statistical principles to tell people how to combine, composite some curve together. The blue curve is the real crude oil price curve can be divided three curves. The dotted line curve is the curve determined by demand and supply. The red curve is actually the movement caused by short events like central bank monetary policy change, financial market volatility. But the green curve corresponding to the bigger events very smoothly. So we can get a new theory for crude oil price. The price can be like in May of 2006, the price is about 71 US dollar per. The trend price or equilibrium price is only 36 US dollar. The major events price is about 32. The normal fluctuation is only 1.2 US dollar. We can use this new mechanism, new theory to make our forecast for crude oil price. Also, we combine EMD with the event study analysis, event study approach together to study the impact of big shock to the market. We do not use the time series directly. We divide the time series into 8 or 6 or 10 or 12 sub time series. We can have good models to study each of sub time series directly. Then we put them together. We get a better results. In this area, we also proposed multiple scale interval value decomposition and integration method. Here is a paper for the carbon price forecast. We published in Energy Economics jointly with Professor Yongmiao Hong, Professor Yu Shang, and Dr. Kun Yang. Here is another method, a new method. We call it decomposition integration method based on interval features. This paper published in also in LG Economics 2, Professor Yu Shang, Professor Yuanji Wei are co-authors of this paper. If you are interested in this paper, you can read the paper by yourself. Also, we propose a CRP MIF method. to study, embedded study approach. This is a paper we published in Energy Economics for the Russian booklet work on the energy market. Here is another variation model decomposition method for the torrent demand forecasting. Of course, our center developed a more suited method called hybrid prediction model, based on CEM-DAA decomposition and multi-curve extreme learning machine as samples. This is a larger hybrid model for the torrent forecasting. This work was done by Professor Shouyang Wang. Also, we propose a multi-scale exchange rate prediction model based on variation model decomposition and supported vector neural work and samples. This is a work published by Shouyang Wang, Professor Yuanji Wei in economic modeling. In recent 5 years, we pay a lot of attention to deep learning method. This is a deep learning method integrating long, short-term memory neural network and backend incentive strategy for the exchange rate forecasting. This is another method that we propose for exchange rate forecasting. As mentioned by Zheng Jun, we pay our attention to big count forecasting. And this is a paper we have done in this direction. The major authors are Dr. Li Yuzhi and Dr. Shouyang Wang. Here is a scheme for model decomposition and deep learning together for the carbon market forecasting. Okay, I would like to show you some real applications of TER and R methodology in economic forecasting. We have done a lot of real applications, but during to the limitation of the talk time, I would like to show you only 6 applications. Here is for the commodity price forecasting. In 1986, I helped the State Administration of Foreign Exchange to develop a system. The system is named State Administration for Foreign Exchange Market Expectation Survey System. This system operates from the 2006. Today, about 40 institutions joined the system, including Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. For the last 15 condition, our center ranking the top 3. Here is the combination of our center with Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, JP Morgan, World Bank, ERA. In 2023, we face a very difficult time because the COVID-19 was main challenge for our human. So to study, to forecast the COVID-19 is a very important task. Our center was the first institution to make a prediction in COVID-19 in mainland of China for the world. We developed an index of implied social distance. We use some epidemic transmission model together with our logical regression model, time series model, our developed method like interval data model. We also use some AR technique. Together, we put the 4 components together. It should be mentioned that the index of implied social distance was developed by our center. This is very important because for different countries, the government pay the different rules. In China, we have a very strong governance. So in China, we get good performers, but some other countries did not have good performance. So we calculate based on extended CRI infectious disease model. We can give each country a score in this month for the social distance in private systems. Our center, not only for the China and the medical forecast, also for the global forecast. In 2000, in the year 2000, 2020, 2022, 2023, we provide our government a lot of forecast reports to support the government to make their decision making. Here is our performance for the forecasting. So the error is acceptable. So we made a quite precise prediction. And the results supported the government in their decision making. As mentioned, our center have done a lot of work on exchange rate forecast. 20 years ago, Professor Lan Yu, he is now a chair professor of Sichuan University. He was a PhD student at our center. Actually, he make our center the #1 in the weekly exchange forecasting, exchange rate forecasting. So Reuters chose us as a unique partner in 2004 and set up a joint laboratory in Beijing. Now, Professor Yuanji Wei and Professor Songlong Sun make our center also the #1 in the world for the monthly exchange rate forecasting, seasonally exchange forecasting in the world. Our center is the main think tank for China's government, especially for the Ministry of Commerce. So every season we request to provide our reports on the forecasting of China's imports and exports. Here is a comparison of our results. Because in the state administration of foreign exchange, they also request Goldman Sachs, Citibank, JP Morgan, of course, our center provide our forecast of China's imports and exports. So we are #1 from that 2006 to today. Our researchers strongly support the government in its decision making. For the method developed for the Torrent forecasting, we cooperate with some large corporations like Sanxi, Kacho, and Torrent Development Corporation. We have joined the laboratory together. We developed some system. If some of you are going to visit Xi'an, in Shanxi province, please contact Professor Song Shun program. You can get a free ticket to visit Torrent sites. In the last 20 years, our center developed a lot of decision support systems of early warning, forecasting, and policy simulation for government departments and large enterprises, also the local governments. This is interface we developed for the State Commission of Development and Reform of People's Republic of China. The system received good comments from the State Administration, State Commission of Development and Reforms. Here is the interface. We developed the system for the central bank, People's Republic of China, People's Bank of China, I'm sorry. We developed, I guess, 3 systems. Like central bank would like to make a new currency policy. Here, the central bank has to operate our system to see what results before they make a final decision. We also developed some system for local governments. Okay, I turn to concluding remarks. First, TRMS methodology has been applied to many practical applications in economic forecasting. And I would like to mention that their results are very promising. Secondly, TR methodology is actually a methodology for studying complex systems, not only for economic forecasting. So this methodology has been successfully applied to solve many real complicated problems, such as water resource planning and management, regional economic and social planning, resource allocation, financial risk management, enterprise strategic planning, energy planning, environment planning, human resource management, workforce planning and management. And of course, natural disaster, early warning, and management. So, based on TI and our methodology, more than 30 decision support systems for early warning, forecasting, and policy simulation have been developed for the government departments, for the local governments, for the large enterprises such as Sinopec, PetroChina, China Energy Investment, State Greek Corporation of China, Air China. We received many documents and process from them. Motivated by the research of economic forecasting with TI and our methodology, some new fields, new directions have been developed, such as interval econometrics, dynamic or time varying model averaging methods, optimal sample determining methods in machine learning. So far, we have published more than 10 monographs and more than 500 journal papers respect to the TI and I. It should be mentioned that more than 30 PhD students with their PhD thesis on TI and R methodology have received their PhD degrees in the university, not only in China, in Germany, the Netherlands, Japan, more than 15 master degree students with their master degree thesis on TI and R methodology received their master degree in universities in the world, in Hong Kong, Moscow, Taiwan, Japan, Singapore, Europe. In the past 20 years, we cooperated with World Bank, MRF, of course, OECD. We have done more than 30 EDP projects to educate and training professional talents in economic forecasting in the world. However, I would like to declare many problems, issues remain to be studied, including new methods for event modeling, non-stationary time series data, or multimodal complicated data, and a new mechanism for more efficient integration. This will certainly stimulate the further development of economic forecasting and forecasting science in the world. That's what I would like to say. Thank you very much.
So Professor Wang just gave very informative talks about this TI at I. I would like to make a first suggestion, maybe to expand this to TI at IF or TE at IIF. So Laura, you understand, right? Because of our society, yeah. So this, if you do not do it, I may go to register this logo myself. So I want to make some points to understand what Professor Wang just discussed, the whole system. I want to mention something about the AMSS Center for Forecasting Science. In my own point of view, maybe this is best, I should say, best in China, maybe the best in Asia. I don't want to say best other places. So we have two best men in this center, the Professor Wang and Professor Yongmiao. I'm the fifth best. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So for this, what Professor Wang just discussed about the interval forecasting, this is, I think, AMSS Center for Forecast Science developed two powerful those inference procedures. One is interval forecasting or interval estimation, and another one is model averaging. For the model averaging, I think in this conference, we have quite a few other speakers also discuss, they do not call model averaging, they call this ensemble forecasts. Yeah. It's kind of a similar terminology. For this interval estimation or interval forecasting, Laurent, if you check back to the French statistician history, they actually used this term quite a few years ago. So it kind of connection with the French statisticians. So this is some point I want to make. And for about this AMSS Center for Forecasting, it has some kind of like run the corporation in China, but we have a core, like a smaller core here. We have been doing this kind of work for the government and for the society. So make those points to make some audience understand or kind of what Professor Wang just discussed. So let's get questions, answers from the audience. Yes.
Okay, Professor Wang, thank you for giving us great presentations. So one thing we are pretty certain now is we live in such an uncertain world. So for this reason, this year, the IMF published what is it called, a real economic outlook. They don't have a benchmark forecast because they don't know the economy will go there or here. Yeah. Instead, they just say, we have the reference point. So my question for you is, how do you quantify the uncertainty associated with your forecast within a system, given that we live in such a highly volatile and uncertain world?
Yeah, it's a good question. As I mentioned very early in this talk, many students, when they study a course of econometrics, they can do economic forecasting for a problem on the economic forecasting. He can collect the data and choose econometric model, then run the model to get the results. That's all. But this is not work for real applications because the error should be very big. As to your question, depends on what forecast the issue, what's the target goals you would like to achieve. For example, we can say in the second half of this year, the crude oil price will be higher or lower. This is a forecast issue. Anybody, most of us can tell that, can give a result. But if we target with very small error, the second year, the crude oil price should be in a very small interval. This is a very very difficult task. So we can use maybe 3 or 4 my components of TI and I. Depends on what's your real issue, what's the target you would like to achieve?
Okay, I think we will have many questions to ask Professor Wang since we are running out of time, already 5 minutes over. So let's thank Professor Wang's wonderful talk again.
Thank you very much. Also, thank you very much for your